Intermittent fasting. You've probably heard about it everywhere. From fitness podcasts and YouTube videos to doctors on social media, coworkers who skip breakfast, and headlines claiming it's the secret to fat loss, longevity, and mental clarity. And yet, despite all that attention, most people who try fasting still feel confused, frustrated, or stuck. They skip meals, fight hunger, feel miserable, and eventually quit, thinking fasting just doesn't work for them. Day 18, in 5-ly node, and dies end. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Fasting usually doesn't fail because of lack of discipline. It fails because people misunderstand what's actually supposed to happen inside the body. Most people believe fasting is simply about eating less or skipping breakfast. Miss a meal, cut calories, lose weight. Sounds simple. But that way of thinking completely misses the point. What if fasting isn't about forcing your body to do something unnatural? What if it's about getting out of the way and letting your body do exactly what it was designed to do? Because your body doesn't panic when you stop eating. It switches modes. And here's something even more interesting. There is a specific window of time where most people give up on fasting, right before the real benefits begin. By the end of this video, you'll understand what's happening during that window, why hunger feels the way it does, and how to tell whether your body is struggling or actually starting to work in your favor. Before we go any further, we need to clear up the biggest fear people have about fasting. Fasting is not starvation. Those two words get mixed together all the time, and that confusion causes most of the anxiety around not eating. Starvation is involuntary. It's prolonged. It happens when the body has no choice and no resources left. Fasting, on the other hand, is intentional, temporary, and controlled. It's something you choose to do for a specific period of time, with a clear start and a clear end. Here's the part most people don't realize. You already fast every single day. The word breakfast literally means to break the fast. Every night when you go to sleep, you stop eating for hours. If you finish dinner at 7 p.m. and eat again at 7 a.m., that's a 12-hour fast. Your body handles that without any problem at all. No emergency, no muscle loss, no damage. So fasting isn't some extreme stress you're suddenly imposing on your body. It's simply extending a process your body already knows how to manage. The real question isn't whether fasting is dangerous. The real question is how long that fasting window lasts and what your body does during that time when food is no longer constantly coming in. Now, here's where things start to go wrong, not because people are careless, but because of how modern life is structured. Most adults today eat across a 14 to 16-hour window without even realizing it. Breakfast in the morning, a mid-morning snack, lunch, something in the afternoon, dinner, and then maybe a little something while watching TV at night. The eating never truly stops. At first glance, that doesn't seem like a big deal. After all, we're told it's better to eat small meals throughout the day or to never let yourself get too hungry. But inside your body, something very different is happening. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises and your pancreas releases insulin. Insulin's job is important. It moves sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells so it can be used for energy. The problem is what happens when insulin stays elevated all day long. When insulin is high, your body is in storage mode. Any energy you don't immediately use gets stored, and fat stays locked inside fat cells. As long as that signal stays on, your body has no reason to tap into its reserves. To understand why fasting works and why eating all day doesn't, you have to understand this one principle. Insulin controls whether your body is storing energy or using it. When insulin is high, your body is focused on storage. When insulin drops, your body finally gets permission to use what it has stored. Think of your body fat like a savings account. You deposit energy every time you eat. That part works just fine. The problem is access. High insulin is like a locked vault. You can keep depositing money, but you can't withdraw any of it. No matter how much fat you have stored, you can't burn it efficiently as long as insulin remains elevated. This is why so many people feel stuck. They cut calories, they exercise harder, they push themselves more. but they're still eating frequently enough to keep insulin high, so their fat stays locked away. It's not that their body is broken, it's following the rules it was designed to follow. Once insulin drops, everything changes. Your body shifts from storage mode into usage mode. That's when fat can finally leave fat cells and be used for fuel. And this is the real purpose of fasting. Not punishment, not deprivation, just time, enough time for insulin to fall and the lock to open. So what actually happens once you stop eating? Let's walk through it step by step, because this timeline explains why fasting feels easy at first, uncomfortable later, and then suddenly different. During the first few hours after your last meal, roughly 0 to 4 hours, your body is busy digesting. Blood sugar is elevated, insulin is high, and your cells are using glucose for immediate energy. This phase feels normal because it is normal. It's what happens after every meal. Between hours 4 and 8, the food you ate has mostly been processed. Your blood sugar starts to stabilize, and insulin begins to come down. Now your body turns to its backup supply. Your liver releases stored glucose, called glycogen, to keep blood sugar steady. Around this time, many people start to notice mild hunger. That's not an emergency. It's simply your body signaling that easy fuel is running low. Here's where things get interesting. Between hours 8 and 12, liver glycogen continues to drop, and insulin keeps falling. This is the point where many people start to feel uneasy and assume something is wrong. They worry they're starving or damaging muscle. And because of that fear, this is where most people quit. But quitting here means missing what comes next. As insulin drops further, growth hormone begins to rise significantly. Growth hormone protects muscle tissue and encourages fat burning. From an evolutionary standpoint, this makes perfect sense. Humans who lost muscle every time food was scarce wouldn't have survived long enough to find their next meal. Your body is designed to preserve strength, not destroy it. Once you move past this stage, usually around 12 to 16 hours, your liver's glycogen is mostly depleted. Now your body has to switch fuel sources. Fat cells release fatty acids, your liver converts them into ketones, and your metabolism shifts. This transition from running on sugar to running on fat is known as the metabolic switch. And when that switch flips, fasting stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like a different state altogether. Once that metabolic switch flips, something unexpected starts to happen. Your body isn't just burning fat for energy. Your brain begins running on a different fuel. As fat is broken down, your liver produces ketones, small molecules that can cross the blood-brain barrier and supply energy directly to brain cells. This is why so many people report feeling calmer, clearer, and more focused during fasting. It's not willpower, it's chemistry. While your brain normally relies heavily on glucose, ketones provide a very steady and efficient source of energy. Some researchers even describe ketones as a cleaner fuel, producing less oxidative stress than glucose. This shift helps explain why mental fog often fades once people move deeper into a fast. You're no longer riding the blood sugar highs and crashes that come with frequent eating. Your brain isn't constantly reacting, it's stabilizing, and there's more happening beneath the surface. As fasting continues, the brain increases production of a powerful protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF supports the survival of existing brain cells and helps create new connections between them. Higher BDNF levels are associated with improved learning, better memory, and greater mental resilience. In other words, fasting doesn't just change how your body feels, it changes how your brain functions. As those repair processes ramp up, another important shift begins to happen. Inflammation starts to come down. Chronic, low-grade inflammation is one of the hidden drivers behind many modern health problems, from metabolic dysfunction to heart disease and cognitive decline. When the body is constantly digesting food and managing repeated blood sugar spikes, inflammatory signals tend to stay elevated. Fasting gives your system a break from that constant input. With insulin lower and digestion temporarily paused, the body has space to redirect energy toward recovery instead of defense. Research has shown that intermittent fasting can reduce markers of inflammation such as C-reactive protein, interleukin-6, and TNF-alpha substances commonly associated with long-term inflammatory stress. This helps explain why many people report not just weight loss, but reduced joint stiffness, better digestion, and a general sense of calm once they adapt to fasting. The body isn't fighting all the time anymore. It's regulating, and that regulation is what allows deeper benefits to accumulate over time. At this point, many people start to recognize a pattern. When fasting is done correctly, the body doesn't spiral downward, it stabilizes. Which brings us to a crucial question: if fasting can be this beneficial, why do so many people still struggle when they try it? If fasting feels overwhelming or unpleasant, it's usually not because fasting itself is the problem. It's because a few key rules are being ignored. The first one is hydration, and this is non-negotiable. When you're fasting, you're not eating, but you absolutely should be drinking. Water is essential, and plain tea or black coffee are fine as well. Many of the headaches, fatigue, and irritability people blame on hunger are actually signs of dehydration. When insulin drops, your kidneys release more sodium and water, so if you don't replace it, you'll feel off. Sometimes a pinch of salt in your water makes all the difference. The second rule is learning to tell the difference between real hunger and habitual hunger. Real hunger builds slowly. It's uncomfortable, but it's not urgent. Habitual hunger hits suddenly, often at the exact times you're used to eating. That hunger usually passes if you wait 15 or 20 minutes. It's not your body running out of fuel. It's your routine asking for food. The third rule is how you break your fast. After longer fasts, especially beyond 18 or 20 hours, your digestive system needs a gentle restart. Breaking a fast with a massive, heavy meal is one of the fastest ways to feel terrible. Starting small and easing back in makes fasting sustainable. And finally, consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need extreme fasts to see benefits. Regular, repeatable fasting trains your body to adapt, and adaptation is where the real results come from. Once you understand the rules, the next question becomes practical. Which type of fasting actually makes sense for you? There isn't a single best method that works for everyone. Different bodies, schedules, and goals respond differently. The most common approach is the 16-8 method. You eat within an 8-hour window and fast for 16 hours. For many people, that simply means skipping breakfast and having lunch and dinner. It works well because a large portion of the fast happens while you're asleep, and it fits easily into most work and family schedules. Some people naturally drift toward an 18-6 pattern once they're comfortable. 2 meals instead of 3, more time in a low insulin state, and often deeper fat-burning benefits. If 16 hours feels easy, this is a logical next step, not a requirement. Then there's 1 meal a day, often called OMAD. This approach can be effective for people with significant weight to lose or stubborn insulin resistance, but it's not beginner-friendly. Getting enough protein, vitamins, and total calories in one sitting takes planning. Without that, OMAD can backfire. The key idea here is flexibility. Fasting should fit your life, not fight it. The best method is the one you can repeat consistently without feeling depleted or stressed. Before we wrap this up, there's one more important piece that can't be ignored. Fasting is powerful, but it isn't for everyone, and it isn't meant to override your body's warning signals. Pregnant or breastfeeding women should not fast. People with a history of eating disorders need to approach fasting very cautiously, ideally with professional guidance. If you have type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes that requires insulin, fasting can dramatically affect blood sugar and should never be done without medical supervision. Children, teenagers, and anyone who is underweight or malnourished should also avoid extended fasting. For everyone else, the most important skill you can develop is awareness. Mild hunger is normal, especially during adaptation. Severe symptoms are not. Persistent dizziness, confusion, heart palpitations, or weakness are signs that your body needs fuel right now. Fasting works best when it's done with respect, not force. And here's the bigger picture. For most of human history, food wasn't constant. Our bodies evolved to function during periods of abundance and scarcity. When you fast, you're not doing something extreme, you're returning to a rhythm your biology understands. You're not fighting your body, you're unlocking it.